Hello, it's me, DjDoubleT, your residential awkward streamer, back with our little, not Ch.5 series, what am I saying? Welcome back to our self-care series where I just exist. I live, I eat, I read, I try to take care of myself, and try to designate some time just to decompress. Because sometimes life is tough, and if not for me, it's always, well, in my situation, it's a little like always tough, but we all have different hurdles and capabilities of what we can handle, and kind of like a series where not necessarily forces me to take care of myself, but it leaves me accountable to take care of myself. I'd also like to thank you, Wanna Hug number 15 and Ch.5 for following, by the way. I really appreciate it. Anyways, what is today's task? Oh geez, I have a lot. But how do I describe it? Today has been many things for me. And when I say many, it's been kind of a challenge day. Like, how do I describe it? After therapy, it left me feeling bitter. And not bitter, but more of just like irritated. And that stuck with me for a full day. And then I had trouble with my sleep as usual. And then I woke up late for work today. Like, I apparently slept through my alarm, and I woke up and turned it off, you know? Hey, Ch.5. How's it going? And then what else? It just, how do I describe it? I overslept, then I had to like pay for a ride because I usually take the bus because I have to wake up early to get to the bus. And hi, Potat. And so I totally missed that. Showed up a little bit late. Kind of was freaking out about, potentially being fired for my tardiness, because that's something that I definitely have trouble with. And then it's out of my hand. And then it started off with like work with a new little thing of like a new task that I just hadn't done before, and I just couldn't meet the mark for what they required, and they had me like continuously do it, and I'm like, I'm getting the same results and you're having me scan the rest of the things. Good luck with what you have to do, by the way, and thanks for coming. And just, what was it? So I spent like a good 2 hours of just doing it to no avail of anything changing. We did like find something to change the numbers and whatnot, and that was okay. But I wasted so much time trying to do something that it was my first time doing, and none of the people there could really help me with it, and then having to do a task that took a lot of time. And basically, by the end of the day, I found out I was rushing to get everything done, and it turned out I got really little done, at least in my own expectations, right? And I think that's also something in life, is like we all hold ourselves to like our own standards of work and like work ethic. And people talk about like working your wage, and that's really important because you gotta value what your time and effort is, but also if you have standards for yourself, to meet your standard, but don't set it to always. You're not always gonna hit the mark, but you can try your best to. And as long as you're trying your best, you can leave it at that, or at least you should be able to leave it at that. Me though, I can't always do it. And today was one of those days because like I don't like giving my work to other people to do the next day, but it was one of those days. And then just some other things where I need to figure out some logistics that was brought up for me, and I've been feeling like I've been tackling a lot of tasks that have been like my own goals and my own things in life, and I feel like each time that I get to a point where I think I've I'm comfortable with what I have and I think I'm doing enough, it feels like there's another thing that I have to do upon that, and it keeps making me feel like there's more to do. Like, it's not enough. There's still more things. And then that's where I get a little overwhelmed. And I just need to realize when it's okay to take that break, you know? Or when to pause, break down whatever is thrown at me, and just tackle it from there. But that's just what's happening lately. And today was like once I got home, I know I was supposed to like stream earlier than what I was for today. And it's hard for me like to keep a set schedule when it comes to like when I have work, because sometimes it has me scheduled later, sometimes like earlier, and then like I have to manage my time of get home. I wanted to be more in shape, so I got that exercise done. That's good and dandy. Now I have foods. Lots and lots of foods to tackle first. Well, not lots and lots of foods, but like, you know, you gotta get yourself fed. And if I don't feed myself, well, that's not good. I need some energy. So if you don't mind, I will be just casually existing and eating on camera. I've also got my lovely mug. You are my sunshine. I try to eat healthier nowadays. Because, you know, once you get older, your metabolism is supposed to be as fast. And, you know, if you take care of yourself now, you don't have to worry about it as much later. Ooh, okay, so, and also the last thing I need to, well, the first thing I do after all the noms is doing my therapy journaling, because having a space to not engulf or quantify your thoughts, but having a space where you can just throw out your thoughts and ideas helps you realize what is kind of like the big issue, or what is something that you feel like you need to tackle, or what is like not necessary. It's like once it's thrown, it either goes at a really fast velocity, or it just slowly just sits there. And the ones that sit there are the ones that are like what are needed to be done, or what needs to be worked on. The ones that just like you throw and dissipate, it's gone. It's there somewhere, but it's not a big deal. I'm also wearing this one shirt for the first time. Sorry, it's with a smiley face. But then I realized after I bought it, it's actually a golf t-shirt. I was like, ooh, a shirt with like a smiley face. I want that. But no, it's like, what does it say in the back? Let's golf it? Something? You can't stop me. Frozen peas are underrated. I don't know why, but they're just so good. And just growing up, I didn't have them that often. I forgot where I'd get them. I think it was like at a buffet or at like some other people's houses. My own, not so much. I wonder how we get like peas. Do we actually get them out of the pod? Because whenever I think about peas in a pod, I always think about like edamame, but those are different. And like, I feel like it would require so much effort just to get one pea by pea, because you have to get them out of the pod. That reminds me, I should probably add a source here. Because I feel like we need a chat box, just so it doesn't look like I'm always talking to myself sometimes. Aha. Oh. Maybe I should look at that. One day I'll figure out how to customize like having my little box be something, you know? I do wonder what kind of design I should go for in life. Ooh, it's funny. So today at work, my coworkers and I were talking about, I think, food? And the food was about, oh no. So I don't know what happened, how the context happened, but we ended up talking about how some of them like bite a tomato like an apple. I'm just like, no, that's not how it works. You don't hear a crunch from a tomato, you know? I mean, you could eat it like it's a peach or a plum, sure. Actually, no, more like a plum. But just hearing a crunch from a tomato, I was like, no, stop right there. Stop right there, please. We don't need this. It's like, whatever audio cue you'd like, that's totally fine. But, like, tomatoes are good. Just don't crunch them. Don't eat them like an apple. That's not how it works. Well, you could eat them like an apple, just not with the crunch. That's what I mean. And don't do that to a potato. You could do that too, but no. And one of my coworkers actually likes unripe tomatoes. They don't really like ripe tomatoes, which I found interesting. I don't know, like, I guess apparently it's a southern thing for people to do. And I just found that interesting. Oh, we also learned that bell peppers are just peppers at like different stages. And like my coworker and I were like, what? And my other coworker was like, yeah, didn't you know? It goes from like green to, I think, yellow, then orange, then red. Hi, Nappy. Bye, Nappy. Good night. I love bell peppers. It's just, how do I describe it? Bell peppers are, they're like a little peppery, but a little sweet. Maybe that's the point. I definitely overcooked this chicken. Oops. It was frozen at first. I tried defrosting it, and it was still frozen. And then I just put it in the oven a little bit longer because, like, I don't want salmonella. So, this is what we're gonna do. I'm so grateful I have sauce, so it actually keeps it not as dry. The more you know, because like I don't tend to eat as much meat as I used to, based on like how my diet has changed. In a sense, I've never actually liked steak that much. I think that's why I also just don't eat as much beef either. I'll eat anything else, and I'll still eat beef every now and then, but it feels like a more of a luxury thing for me. Oh, I also forgot to mention a lot earlier on, but thank you everybody to those that are here today. You know, you guys have helped to make a community. So we got that VIP status that I can like pass out to a few people. And like as things get bigger and bigger, we'll be able to like give other VIP passes to more people, but there's always gonna be a limit. I think the maximum was 50, 100 to 100, I don't remember. But basically, like a small area goal of people who have VIP status are able to chat, able to send links, because then they won't be sus. And I don't know, it's just happy to get badges. We all know Puma has the first badge. I think Lumi has the second one, and then I have 8 more available, but I'm gonna hold on for a bit just to like, because I don't want to just like pass them out like crazy, because then I'll be like, I wanted to give it to you, but I have no more to give. So you might have to wait. I also just randomly thought about something. I really like carrots in soup. Or like, I like softer carrots. If I eat like a raw carrot, I like them older. Like carrot sticks. Because those are really good with like ranch. Ooh, but back to like the random tomato thing. So the tomato conversation led to a conversation about lemon cucumbers. Apparently they're like another form of cucumber that tastes really good, but they're not sold in the markets because after they're picked off, they kind of like go bad really quickly. But that's another like random food thingy, I guess. Hi Lumi. You're looking good with your new little badge. I thought it would say like it'd be like a crown, but it's actually a diamond. Okay, Shakiro. Thank you for coming by. I will. I will enjoy existing. It's not like one of my playful streams, but if you ever want to hang out and just chill and chat, feel free to come by on Tuesdays or whatever time it is for you on this day. I always find it interesting that the colors they pick for each day is different when it comes to like Twitch streams. I don't know why, but whenever I see like the red that was like Nappy's color, I'm like, ah, it's a bad person. It's a person that's gonna destroy me. But today's like color scheme is just, how do I describe it? Very Cosmo and Wanda like. And a little bit of Timmy, I guess, because you have your pink, you have your green. I guess red's close enough to Timmy. I mean, same Lumi. I'll be in the background of my own stream. Ooh, that also reminds me. Today we had a conversation about weird food combinations. And one person was talking about like how their family members really like they're not phased by weird food combinations. And this whole conversation sparked up because of the fact I had said, so what's with that combination of mayonnaise and veggie sticks? Like, are you gonna eat that? I guess. And then my coworker's like, yeah, I am. I'm like, okay, no room for judgment here. My other coworker knew that they were joking, and then there's just me like, okay, you go, because like I really can't judge for food combinations. I believe like, I think it was my last stream with Chaos, we had briefly spoken about how in my college years, for one of like our late night things, because like the cafeterias have this thing called like late night, which is like after dinner, kind of like late night hang out, get food, and I had somehow gotten this wonderful idea to have a chocolate chip cookie and ketchup. And then I convinced everybody there to try it with me because I was like, this is actually good. Because it's like the idea of sweet and salty, and you have like the little acidic taste of vinegar, and so those complemented each other pretty decently. And Chaos was like, I didn't hate the combination, but I was disgusted with myself because I didn't think it was bad. And well, now you know a story of one of my fun combinations of food. And I guess you could say I am adventurous when it comes to trying things, but it was still funny. But then my coworker also told me about like how like their family does like food. Okay, Potat, get to the call of the numbers, and hopefully the numbers don't take too long. But you know, if I'm still on, feel free to come back. If not, good luck with the numbers. Hopefully it all adds up. No dad puns here. I mean, math puns here. That works. And yeah. Oh, wait, anyways, my coworker told them like the family does combinations of like instead of having like a peanut butter banana sandwich on like white bread, it is mayonnaise, bananas on white bread, which is an interesting combination. I'll give it that. Then you have ants on a log, but cut the celery out and replace it with bologna. And I was like, oh, I mean, okay. And I think at that table we all agreed we'll try it once and we'll leave it at that. But there are some things I will not try again, hopefully, or have to try again. And that would be bitter melon. It's good for you with vitamin E, just not good on my taste buds. Because whatever it touches, it makes it taste so bitter, like death. And I'm good. I'll stick to non-bitter stuff. Lumi, are you saying that because you've done that before? Because I feel like that could go well if you had other savory stuff with it, you know? Because like people do crepes, but we have like sweet crepes. We also have savory crepes. So I wouldn't say that's like the worst idea. I personally like having yogurt on my pancakes because when I was growing up, um this the private school that I went to for a bit, like they just had the different toppings and they had like yogurt for us, and it was actually pretty good. I also like jam on my pancakes instead. Syrup is just like it just soaks in too much and is a little too sweet sometimes. I mean, I don't mind having syrup, just like not always. I'll take a good fruity taste or yogurt. Calories. Hmm. I might be overloading on the calories a bit, so I'm starting to feel sleepy. I forget how easily I can get food coma. Maybe the Nene, maybe. Glad that you can actually make it for once. But I also have a few things to do as usual, you know? After those tasks are done, I can sleep easily. But how are you? I get it. Ah, that's spoon. I'm always trying to do something. Whether it's productive or unproductive. As long as it's keeping me occupied. I mean, currently what's happening is just my self-care kind of day. Thank you to Dene for following, by the way. And, you know, a lot of things. We're our usual lo-fi in our hangout section as usual. And I have foods because I hadn't had time for foods. And so here are foods right now. Afterwards, or at least in a mixture of both if I get too in the middle of everything, I haven't had time for foods because, like, after I come home, I force myself to work out and exercise because, one, that's healthy, but two, it does help me like decompress a little bit. And just the fact that I like to shower after getting home, and so if I'm gonna be sweaty, I'm gonna handle it all at once. And after that, I got home after like past 7:40 my time. Then I had to exercise, but then I kind of like was struggling with it, so it took me about like an hour or so ish. Then from there, I had to like shower, and then I made food. I'm currently eating it now. No, the workout took for an hour, and then I've been eating like slowly this whole time. Been having like food here and there, and then kind of just chatting, kind of telling stories, which I kind of eat really slowly. You know, I stood in the shower and cried. Well, I didn't say 7 exactly. It was more towards the 8-ish side. Like, took some moment to like sit down, breathe, kind of. Then finished my exercise around like 9:30, and then finally showered. Then just like made everything, had it done. It's not 12 a.m. It's only 11. And then now I have like things to tackle. Oh, yesterday the chicken was just okay. Now it's gotten worse because it's become dry chicken. And it's been a struggle to eat it. That's kind of like, I started eating around like 10:30. It's still been existing. But yeah, so the food needs to sit down and have a break and question its life choices. I am not high. I am in the middle. And plus, I don't do recreational drugs. It's not for me. But yeah, now I got a journal that maybe. Yeah, upside down. A little wasted. Existing. But yeah, I have to do journaling, then read. And that's really it. I am not bullying it. It just decided to flop. You know, it took a jump and it didn't jump the best. You know? Sometimes when you try your best, but you kind of succeed, but not really. Do you want me to right side up the judgment seal now? Is that what you're asking for? I'll go do it. Thank you today. Just shoving his nose in. Never mind, the seal is fine. He was just shoving his nose into the cushion. Sometimes you just throw your face into a pillow and just scream internally. And externally. But more internally. No, that's just his RBF. Seal has hard RBF sometimes, and that's okay. The food will now sit in my lap because I need to move my keyboard to type. Which reminds me, I should probably get a bigger desk at some point in life. Just not today. Because who has the thing for it, I guess. Now hopefully the rest of the food can go down. You're right. You're right. Sorry, that's not water. I did make like honey Szechuan tea, which is close enough. Don't worry, it's not alcohol or anything. It's actually Sprite. Sprite Legacy. They're one of their like special flavors for a bit. It's basically if you as a kid like made fusion drinks, but it is sugar. Yes, it is. But Sprite Lemonade Legacy is what do I say? It's just Sprite mixed with strawberry lemonade. It's not sugar that it doesn't help me sleep. It's more of like if I have any caffeine. But yeah, but sugar doesn't affect how I sleep. Oh, well. Oops. Oh. Consuming high amounts of added sugar increases heart disease, diabetes, and cancer risk factors such as obesity, high blood pressure, insulin resistance, and inflammation. Oops. Huh. Well, luckily I feel exhausted. So I'll be able to sleep today. At least because, like, I personally just feel drained. And none of this stuff will help me stay awake anyways. Well, Jadena, you don't have to worry about me, like, planning to stay up late this night. I can't. Like, late as in, like, my unreasonable hours. Because I have work that's scheduled earlier than usual tomorrow. So I have to sleep at a somewhat decent amount of time. I need to work on my rice skills a bit. Like, whenever I make rice, it sometimes is a little too damp. Which isn't bad or anything. Because, like, when I eat rice, it kind of lasts a bit. And, like, as it stays in the fridge, it becomes more and more dry. But also, like, I make rice the old-fashioned way. I know. Isn't that ironic? That's not how it works. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. Because, like, once the rice is, like, down, the chicken still exists. And then it slowly, like, violates me. In no, a leathery way, I guess. But, yeah, I make the rice the old-fashioned way. And, like, just a pot. I don't use a rice cooker. Because, one, I don't have a space for one. Neither can I afford to buy one at the moment. I don't think I've ever used a rice cooker in my life. True. But I mean, I feel like if with a rice cooker, you can get clean rice too. As long as you just, like, wash your rice. I remember growing up, I didn't really like brown rice. And then like, all of a sudden I'm like, brown rice is healthier. It's not bad. But I think my favorite rice of all time is jasmine rice. It just hits the spot. And there was a time where I didn't like rice. I won't lie. How do I describe it? So it's like another breed of rice. And according to what I'm quickly pulling up, jasmine rice is a long-grain variety of fragrant rice. Its fragrance reminiscent of pandan and popcorn. Results from the rice plant's natural production of aroma compounds, of which 2-acetyl, 1-pyrroline is the most salient. So... Huh? I guess it's like rice that smells nice. Like that's at least how it's described, because like when you type in jasmine rice, the first thing that pops up is like jasmine rice, June 24th, 2020. Jasmine rice is a lovely, subtly perfumed rice used across Southeast Asia. It's strongly associated with Thai food and used for serving with ... I want to say the latter, just because I guess it's like another nicer smelling version of rice. That, I could ask, what is jasmine rice? There we go. Alright, we're going to WebMD to tell me that the rice has cancer. In over 100 countries, rice is a prominent nutritional source that is served with a variety of flavorful dishes. Jasmine rice, also known as Thai fragrant rice, is an aromatic long grain rice, where each grain is about 4 times as long as it is wide. Jasmine rice comes in a variety of colors. White jasmine rice, in particular, is largely processed and has more nutritional similarities to white rice than to brown jasmine rice. Jasmine rice also comes in black, purple, and red varieties, each with slightly different nutritional profiles. Be sure to read the nutritional label of the jasmine rice you're cooking for the most accurate nutritional information. Either way, I like it more than white rice. Maybe because it is like little fragrance, but it like has a different taste to it. And that's all I can really say. Get your own if you want to see the difference. That's if you can. There are like so many different forms of rice that people eat in like different countries. Like sushi rice is for sushi, and like that's pretty good. Persian rice is also good in its own ways and forms. What else? I don't know all the breeds. I know, right? Just in case you didn't know. Because, you know, sometimes the most profound things are the things that you will know. I want to say the same thing, but let's look it up. I guess instead of me taking care of myself, we're gonna go and search for rice. Welcome to Let's Search for Rice. Is this the rice you're looking for? So, yes. Sushi rice is steamed Japanese rice that is flavored with vinegar-based seasonings, and it's only used for making sushi. In Japan, it's known as sumishi, vinegar rice. Confusion occurs when sushi rice is used as a label for regular Japanese short grain rice outside of Japan. So, yes, but no, because one is without the seasoning and one is with the seasoning. Either way, they are Japanese rice. Kind of like the idea of all squares are rectangle. I did it the other way around. Oh, yes. There we go. But not all triangles are circles. Basically, squares fit in every category. Except for the category that the others will fit in. Yes. More confusion. You're welcome. Anyways. No, shapes are fun. Actual geometry, not so much. Okay, never mind. Geometry was fun. But the proofs and stuff was not fun. I remember in geometry, I really hated proving things. Like, prove this square is this square. This square and this square are the same. With like the theorems and the what was it? The other part, whatever it is, the one that's like, it's always gonna be true. It was not fun being assigned it and then having to teach the class. It's like, teach the class what you learn. And then if you were wrong, you would get corrected in front of the whole classroom. And I just was like, see, you can understand this is this, therefore they are the same. Yeah. I don't know why, but that sparked something really random in my memory of high school. And let's just say, I had a mixture of food that didn't sit well in my stomach that one morning, and things came out, and it was the awkwardest moment. I remember I had like orange juice, rice, and some like pink pork. I forgot exactly, but it just didn't sit well, and like I struggled to get to the class, and things just went over pretty badly. And so my teacher at the time was just like teaching, and like I rose my hand up and ducked down, things came out, people noticed, and she was still teaching. She was dedicated, and we're all like, hey, blah blah blah, teacher, he kind of hucked something. And then it's like, what? Oh, well. And then I remember when I got like picked up, one of the guys, like, maybe both. One of the guys, like, I don't know what you describe him as, but like the adults that would just like drive around on a golf cart and like move students and kind of watch over things. He said something kind of inappropriate. He was like, that must have been an Asian, judging by what he ate. And I was like, thanks. Alright. I don't know, people liked him, but he gave me like questionable vibes. And I just moved on from that. Oh well. It's because our school was kind of open, and I guess it was just easier for some people to travel between things in order to get stuff. Then pick up like students and move them around. Don't ask why. I don't really have an answer either. Like, to describe like my high school, they were like different, not different buildings, but different like smaller buildings that was just more open. It's not like the high schools of movies that are like all in this like one giant high school attached and there's different classrooms and lockers. It was more open and like a larger campus in a sense, where you would have to walk in between distances that wasn't like roofed, which would be bad on rainy days, but really nice on like sunny days where you could just hang out. Yeah. The chicken is gone, so it makes it everything else is easy to eat. I don't know, that chicken didn't disappear without a fight. No. You know when things get disintegrated, but like it doesn't like get vaporized instantaneously? It was one of those scenes. I think that if I can't eat the chicken as it is right now, I might repurpose it, like cut it down into like cubes, and then I'll make chicken fettuccine alfredo, and just make like the sauce a little bit saucier, and then maybe that'll be fine. Just like make it moist again, I guess. And I know people don't like that word sometimes, but like when it's used correctly, it is fine. At least that's in my opinion. Like when people describe like moist bread or something. Welcome back, Lumi. I was like, where's Lumi? The Dene and I are currently discussing the word moist. Ew, no, no more work. I mean, you're working, but good for you. But no more work. Not for me. How to get me more viewers? You know, just do this, and then this is all you need to do. And then type something every now and then. What? No, I was just thinking about silly things, and then you know, it's like one of those moments where you're kind of just like, you exist, things are quiet, and then your mind goes, you remember that one moment of this thing happening that you're kind of embarrassed about, but you don't really want to think about it, but here it is now, and now you're embarrassed, and then and now you're like, oh god. I guess in short, it's like sometimes sometimes I'll sit here or I'll exist, no one's around, and my mind goes, let's think about this one moment that you just can't help thinking about, and you ask yourself, why are you doing this? Or why did you do that? And I have those moments. And for some reason I decided to have it now. Hey, I may be delusional, but at least I'm aware about it. Okay, maybe I'm not always aware that I'm delusional, but I have my moments. Del you know, delusion is just a flavoring of salt, not salts. You know what? Delusion will be like a flavoring of caffeine. It just keeps you up. Alright, I'll be right back. Mainly just putting the dishes in the sink so they can rest. And then I need to grab my other stuff. Hey, the dishes did a lot of work in carrying. You know, not everybody can hold liquid in that long, or decide to hold a bowl of food. All right. Yes. When things do work, they deserve some time to themselves. Here, I can finish these pages. Yeah, I can read. But first things first, time to add another layer of skin. Because I want it to be nightmare fuel. And that's it. Alright, today we are doing a face mask. Yes, a face mask. Instead of doing the simple, plain one that I usually do, not today. We're doing this one. We're doing one like the ones you just put on your face and then you let it sit there. It's avocado. I don't know how I'm gonna react to avocado, but hopefully it's not an allergic reaction. It's an avocado soothing facial sheet mask. A Bucol soothing avocado facial sheet mask. God, those are words. That's that's a flavoring, not a flavoring. That's a mouthful. And I just ate dinner. Infused with avocado extract, which nourishes and soothes the skin for a healthy looking appearance. Shea butter delivers intense hydration to skin and keeps the skin moisturized. How to use: put on mask. Let your mask sit until your face absorbs it. And then take off the mask like you're ripping off your face. Kidding. But but basically it's like gently unfold the facial mask in place on a clean face. I showered. Yes. I have. Yes. Keep the mask on for 15 to 20 minutes, then remove. Please discard after use. What am I gonna do with it after I take it off? Keep it there, let it sit on a hang. I'll frame it up and be like, this is the day I put on a face mask that was avocado. Massage your face and neck with the remaining essence. They really said essence. No. No. Anyways, off with the headphones because I know the stuff is gonna be leave it on for a little bit longer. Oh, that's cold essence. That essence is cold. Why did I think it was not gonna be cold? Lumi, you never answered the question that Dene asked. I hope you know that. I also can't move my face as much, so we're going to pucker lip sounds. I'm guessing Dene says lychee. Dene starts a debate in like Locked community. What do you say, lychee or lychee? Lychee? No, don't no, don't say lychee ever. No. Whoever says lychee needs to get yeeted. Huh? Sorcery. Blasphemy. Whoever wrote that, they're incorrect. I'm disappointed and upset. The level of unprofessionalism is totally not cool. It's just unethical. It's unprofessional. I literally can't even. Me trying to mimic that with the people on who like imitate the Kardashians. I literally can't even. Anyways, I say Cambridge. No. Alright, final assignment of the day. Reading. And also taking notes. Cambridge sounds a little off to me. I like saying Cambridge, but you know, you do you until someone corrects you, or a lot of people decide to correct you, then you can like be undecided, you know? Or you know, just do whatever. Say the words you want to say and how you say it and have fun with it. Because either way, someone will like it. Like the way how you say things. Oh, I should probably re-say like what I'm currently reading. Today, because I didn't finish the last chapter from last week, we are continuing with Stop Overthinking. A book about how to stop overthinking. No brain cells. Only one. I do talk about a little bit about the book and what it tells me. I'm not exactly sharing each and every detail, but whatever I find like interesting and useful. Okay, it's all good to be AFK for a bit. I probably will be a little bit too, but I will be talking every now and then as usual. Well, it mentions in the book that for goals, if you think about the idea of SMART, S stands for specific, like, what is this goal? It's clear and direct what it is what you want to do, and you want to like measure it. M is for measure, where it's like, how much? Because this goal should be quantifiable. Like, it shouldn't be something that should be vague. A is like, is it attainable? Like, is it a reasonable goal? Like, set yourself up for reasonable successes rather than goals that just aren't possible within, like, in the mindset of like where you're at currently. Because you want to have goals that you can reach, you know? And then you have R. Is it relevant? Is it like, does it go along with what you're going to pursue in the future? Like, you want goals to stick around to each other, so then you can like meet them like along the way, rather than having a bunch of goals that are just that way, that direction, all the directions. And then set a time, because you know goals need to have a time frame of like, when are you gonna do it? Basically that. But a lot of like overthinking is just like the idea. Well, one, it's about organization. Too many ideas, but see, that SMART is just mainly for like if you're overthinking on what you want to do for goals. But like overthinking in general, it's about like, one, taking the time to kind of like organize the clutter in your mind. What is important and relevant to you now? What is urgent? What is important versus what is urgent? Or like, there's like a way to think about it as, what is important and urgent? What is important but not urgent? What is not important but urgent? And then what is not either? And so like, yeah, there's different like ways to break down overthinking and how to like process it, and how like other methods that could work for you. Everybody has like different methods. Some of them it's like you can use like all the AA system, I think. Like, if you're dealing with kind of stress because of like how much you're overthinking, you can try doing that the quadruple A system, which is avoid, which is like, if you can avoid the scenario, avoid it. Like, you don't need to deal with the stressors that aren't things that how do I say, like, not important, but you can avoid things that so avoid, different from generic avoid, set boundaries of no and keeping extra stress away. But then there's like, and if you can't avoid the situation of stress, you can try to alter it. You can talk and to choose to change your stressors. Like, if someone's causing you stress, you can try to talk to them, or you can try to say no or figure out a way from that. Or if not, sometimes if you can't change it, you just have to accept it. And then like, because like, when you have a problem in hand, right, some people outright try to deny that it exists, or just like they try to do all the other steps. But if that's not working, sometimes you just gotta accept it. And then once you're able to accept that the situation is not good, then it's like you don't have to think about it as much further. And then from there, we can try to adapt, alter our worldview to see things as a challenge or crisis, see things in a different light. Like, see it differently than what it is actually. Or there's also like, I guess so. There's also like Alan's input processing technique, where it's kind of like your mind is pretty good at itself with survival. Like, just don't think. And like, your mind will process what things are important immediately and what needs to be done. And like, if it doesn't trigger any response specifically, then let's see. That is not important to work on. It's just like, how do I describe it? Your body just knows what it needs to get done. Because sometimes we run our bodies on autopilot, and that's kind of how we get through the day, and how, like, in the end, it's just like the basic need of what do you need to survive? What do you need to do? And then what is actually trivial and not important to your body and need. But also, like, I guess the smart method is right about one thing, and it's something that is important. So when I was doing like New Year's resolutions, right? And like or I'll say, I like to say more of the goals for the year. I had thought about 10 or 12 different things I wanted to do. But then I also had to sit down and like break it down, because the big goals require a bunch of small steps. But even the small things require small steps. Like, when I said, I'm gonna read this year, right? That is such a vague statement that you have to quantify down. I'm going to, for this to work right now and how I'm doing it, I should have worded it like, I'm going to read once a week, set aside this time to read down one chapter of a book that I hadn't finished reading, or I had bought years ago and haven't finished. And like, it's interesting because you really have to think about, oh yeah, reading a book. So what day are you gonna do it? Like, what's the time frame? How much are you going to do? And like, what is reasonable? It's not like I told myself I'm gonna read 500 books this year. Every day I gotta read at least 1.5 books, and then okay, I can meet my goals. That's not attainable for my own mentality. And to me, it's relevant because it's like, this year is about doing things that I had been procrastinating about, and to focus on my own personal self-improvement. Like, there are books that I have bought, they have sat there, and there was a book that I had been reading throughout all of my college years, and I finally finished it. That's done. But the other part of the goal for this year is to finish a book that I had bought previously. These books are more of added on unintentionally, because I needed other systems to work on my own personal self-improvement. Because, one, staying up late is not the healthiest. And I can do it sometimes, but not every day, because that has led me to overthink a lot. Like, late night thoughts happen, but it's not a party all the time. And the other book is about, like, kind of, I've always let other people define who I am as a person, and I have always kind of like adjusted myself to fit their view. And I've gotten some resistance, but not a lot of resistance on living my life the way that I think is correct, and not the way that everybody thinks that I should live it, because I realize how unhealthy it is to live a life that isn't as much in your own hands. Like, sure, there are factors that are out of my own control, and that is fine. That is something to like let go of and live by. But there are things that I can do that are important to me that I shouldn't let anybody else diminish its value for. You know, the one thing about like when it comes to taking notes, there is like something cool about people who are able to just listen and do it, but it's also important to take notes by writing them down, or at least like summarizing whatever's happening that you need to take note of, because in a way it's kind of like establishing how you learn what first of all, and how you hear it and you can explain it. And because you're writing it down, it helps your mind retain the information that you are putting down, so you don't have to study as hard to remember the details that you're doing. That too. Huh, okay, so then there's a different method called the Kanban method, which like starts off with thinking about your system and your process of thinking as like a factory in a sense, because that came out from like the factory production system, where like show us what you're doing and like work on that, and then think about small changes for efficiency, respect initial rules and limits, encourage leadership. But when it comes to like applying it to more of like a personal system, the second like principle of like small changes for efficiency is the most important. And it mentions like one, you should visualize like what is the task you're doing. Like you gotta see it in order to plan it out. Like what is each step that you have, rather than this is my idea, and then well then how are you gonna get to the next part, you know? And you want to do things one at a time, because you multitask, your attention is not going to be there. And then after that, manage your workflow. Can you speed it up? Can you work harder? Can you need to slow down? And then after all that, check in with your system. Like, if you're ready, you can make a change. If not, you can make it different. And the final one isn't perfect, but the scientific method. If you're ready, feel free to experiment and see like what works. Anywho's, one quick thing, which is taking off this face. Because it is time for the face to go. Ugh. Ow. Welcome back, Lumi. Okay. So, the other method we're talking about, like not overthink, is time blocking. Which is kind of like making a schedule. But more of, you think about your day. Well, one, think about the day. Or week. Like, what do you want to achieve? Then you think about, how do you want to start your day? How do you want to end the day? And like, think about how you sleep. And what is good for your thing. Understandable. But like, what do you want to do before you get up? Like, not before you get up. What do you want to do when you get up? Besides sleep again. And then, how do you want to decompress before you get to bed, you know? And then from there, you think about what is like what are things that are a priority for you? And like, what time would you like to do those? So what are the priorities? Then 4, you would go to think about like the lesser important things. So like, not as important. Block time for that. But then the 5th part is like, if you have time, think about where you want to place things for emergencies. Kind of like, oh, it's a pop-up task. So you have time to deal with. So you have time in place for just in case anything goes awry. And then the last part is like, if it doesn't work, fix it. Not fix it. If it doesn't work, try a different thing. Try a different approach. Because you got to think about like, how does your body feel at certain times of the day? How does that affect it? And I think that's something I will slowly think about working on. Because I know myself. And it's like, on my days off or when I have time, I really like hanging out with my friends. One, it's like, those people are important to me. But 2, it's just like, it's an old habit that I've had for a while now because of like how I grew up. And time with friends has always just been important to me. And currently, I think for me, I just really need to work on healthier cutoff times because I like to have fun for as long as possible. And sometimes it'll go to the impossible side. I don't know how I feel about this word. I don't even know what it is. But the book uses a word called niggles. And I don't know how I feel about it. I've just never heard of that word. It feels weird. Well, the sentence goes like, she does, quote, life admin, and then end quote tasks. Completes her daily exercise, schedules meetings and chats, and sorts out bills, shopping, and other niggles. Yes. Yes, yes. I know, but okay, I guess I'll just put the rest of it in the fridge. I should have drank it earlier, but I didn't want to drink it after. Well, I didn't want to drink it during my workout. There, I got water instead. You know, whenever I decide to get, not associate, not advocate, affiliate, there we go. Uh, I'm definitely gonna probably get a drink water button at some point. Although I feel like if I made the button and it was like 50 cents, people would spam it and just make me chug water. Like, drink water. No. No, I can't take 20 swigs of water right now. And then some like sadistic person would be like, drink more. You know what? Maybe I should make it like the button be like increasing amounts. Like, drink water. Drink water. Drink water. And then at some point, drink more. And then the last one, drown. Moonlight, moonlight, what you want from me, I'll do it if you say so. But only one from me, I'm never gonna say no. I found me an angel, I can see it in your halo. Never wonder we could do. Wonder if you said I love you. Never had it. Touch your bed, it lasts forever. But you want from me, I love you. Oh yeah, I don't know if I said this, but I got some like giant Pokemon cards at some point, and I think I like using them as bookmarks. They make great bookmarks. Okay, I'm gonna go to this book a little bit. I think I'm just gonna start it for a little, but then after that, it is bedtime. But the other book is called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. Kind of like, and it's funny, the next chapter is literally called Chapter 4, The Value of Suffering. Well, I mean, the title for like each chapter has been funny kind of so far. The first one, Chapter 1, Don't Try. Chapter 2, Happiness is a Problem. Chapter 3, You Are Not Special. Chapter 4, The Value of Suffering. Thank you, Real Young June, for following. Oh, Real Young John. Dene, this chapter has started off pretty interesting. Just talking about like a battle and like how these people went back and just did um they just kept on fighting. They knew they were losing, and then they went into like the jungle and then did guerrilla warfare, and then like the war was over. Both countries had like become comfortable or like had reached an agreement, and then but then the guys, well, they reached an agreement. Things were okay. They sent out like pamphlets and leaflets because they couldn't find the people, and then just and just the people who were doing the guerrilla warfare was like, that's fake, it's a trap, and continued fighting for 5 more years. And then life had returned normal for like a lot of the people, but then these people were still in the jungle, and then so the people who lived around there they were still causing trouble with, they sent out new leaflets saying like, it's over, you guys lost, get over it. And then they were also ignored. And I'm continuing to read this to see what happens. Okay. So did I need to finish the story of like so far? So After a while, it continued. Like, they still continued fighting, and even though after the war had ended for more than a quarter of a century, the guy was still fighting. Lots of his companions had either passed or surrendered or like moved on. This guy was still in the jungle. And then like I guess in 30 years after, they they sent like a bunch of people to search for this guy. Couldn't find him because he was like so like not trusting of anybody. And then one day this Japanese hippie kind of guy decided, you know what? I'm kind of bored with life, and I need a friend who can like adventure and like who's outside of the norms because apparently he's described as a hippie. And he says, I don't have any training in finding people. I'm gonna go in that jungle, and you know what my method's gonna be? To yell out this guy's name out really loud and continue searching. And apparently he found him in 4 days. And like, so the hippie guy asked like the soldier guy, so why'd you stay so long? And then the soldier was like, I stayed because I was ordered to never surrender. So that's kind of why I did for nearly 30 years. And then the soldier asked the hippie guy, what's a hippie like you looking for me? And he's like, I left the country to, adventure. And I was in the search for three things. You, a panda bear, and the abominable snowman, in that order. I think the panda bear would be first, and then the other person, then the abominable snowman. But you know what? I won't question the methods or the order. Well, let's see. You can probably look up his name. Norio Suzuki. Norio space Suzuki. Suzuki. But I don't want to like give out the book because one, there's copyright, and two, read it for yourself. Oh, that's so sad. Okay. Well, the hippie guy. Actually, I won't spoil it. Unless you ask me to do the name specifically, I will not tell you the rest of it. Okay. So the hippie guy found the soldier guy. He got to see a panda, but unfortunately, he met his demise trying to look for the abominable snowman. Hey, I mean, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. It's a 66%. I guess getting a D means do not go home. And that's kind of what happened. Anywho, that was... Yes. But yeah, that will be it for tonight. I have had a lovely stream. Thank you to everybody that came by today. And thank you to Danae for sitting around and just existing and chatting with me this whole time. And well, yeah, after the stream ends, I plan to sleep. And thank you for new followers today. And also, if you see this on YouTube later, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you don't want to see it on YouTube, come to Twitch. Come check me out whenever I decide to go on, I guess. And exist, have a conversation, and I'll see you around. DjDoubleT will be out, but it'll be here again sometime soon. Most likely tomorrow. Good night.